If you're thinking about buying a Libernovo Omni chair but can't decide which model to get, this is the video for you. Because I spent the last 8 months testing every single Libernovo chair, so you don't have to. So no matter your budget, body type, or preferences, you will walk away from this video knowing exactly which model is right for you personally. And we're gonna start this video off by taking a look at the flagship Libernovo Omni chair. This is the one that went absolutely viral at launch with a record-breaking $10 million raised on Kickstarter. And since then, it's been easily the most popular new chair on the market. And while I don't think it's perfect, and it's definitely not for everyone, I do think it'll be a great fit for a lot of people for reasons I'll show you in just a minute. By the way, Libernovo did send me these chairs to test out. I don't just have some weird chair hoarding fetish, but this video is not sponsored. I didn't accept any money to make this video, and I had zero obligation to create it. Everything I'm about to say, positive and negative, is my personal opinion with no input from the brand. And the Libernovo Omni is Libernovo's first and most famous chair in the lineup. There are some more expensive models with more features, and there are some cheaper models with less features, but the Libernovo Omni falls smack dab in the middle on price and features, with every other Libernovo chair basically being some variation of it. So here's how this is all gonna work. First, I'm gonna show you all the features present on pretty much every Libernovo chair right now. This way I don't need to repeat myself 6 times. Then once you know the baseline, we'll go model by model depending on your needs to show you exactly what changes and help you find your perfect match. And if I do help you figure it out, there will be some discounted affiliate links down in the description. So if you want to support the channel while saving yourself some money, using these links is the best way to do that, and I would genuinely love you for it. Cool? Cool. Okay, so the first thing Libernovo pushed hardest in their early marketing is this electronic component in the back. It adjusts your lumbar support and adjusts a 5-minute spinal stretch massage thing. It's convenient, it feels pretty nice, but it also makes the chair a bit more expensive, and the electronic components could be a potential failure point down the road. So if you're feeling a little iffy about your budget and you don't really love this feature, hang tight because there are some cheaper options coming up. But the feature I do really love, which is on every single model that I'm showing you today, is the way the whole chair just sort of moves with you rather than against you. I'll show you what I mean. So the chair's got a range of recline positions for different use cases. Think upright for seated work at your desk, slightly reclined for long hours of locking in at the computer, a deeper recline for console gaming or watching TV, and pretty damn close to lay flat for handheld gaming or taking a nap. But the reason I personally will be keeping a Libernovo chair myself is because at no point while switching between these positions do I ever feel like I'm fighting the chair to get comfortable, which is way more than I can say about most chairs, even at like the top tier of chairs that I've tried at this price point. Like, watch this. So say I'm sitting at my computer reading mean comments and decide, you know what, this, I'm done. I want to kick back and build some cute houses in Pocopia. Well, I can do that. And as I lean back, the armrests move with me. I don't have to totally shift around and readjust their positioning like I would with other chairs. Speaking of armrests, the ones on these chairs are pretty solid. They're all going to adjust up and down, in and out, forward and back, and pivot to different angles. Frankly, I tested the Herman Miller Embody in another video, which is twice the price of the Libernovo Omni, and the armrests on the Omni are literally miles better than the ones on the Embody because the range on them lets me move them around so that they always support my arms without getting in my way. And if you've got short arms or a long torso like my meerkat-shaped girlfriend does, this is actually the only chair I've tested where the armrests can actually come up high enough to support her elbows. So she actually loves it, and I wound up giving her one to keep. But there's actually one last thing that's pretty damn close to being the same across all the different Libernovo models, and then we can get into what makes each one different. Because probably my favorite feature on any Libernovo chair is the headrest. And no, I promise I'm not glazing here. I will die on this hill. Libernovo comes with the best stock headrest of any chair I've ever tried, period. It adjusts up and down, forward and back, and tilts upward and downward to support your neck at different angles. And no matter how I've used the chair, I've never not had my neck feel supported. I don't want to oversell it, but I promise you're going to be happy with it. All right, now let's talk about the seat, because this is where the models actually start to split apart. Right now, most of these chairs, including the Omni, give you a seat depth option of 45 centimeters or 48 centimeters. If that ever changes, I'll keep the description down below updated with the latest info, so check down there before you buy. But between these two seat depth options, I'd recommend the bigger 48 centimeter option to almost everyone. Because one of the most common complaints about the Omni comes from taller folks or folks with long femurs whose legs extend past the seat edge by a few inches. So for reference, I'm about 6 foot and the 48 centimeter works perfectly fine for me. But if you're taller than that, or you've got, I guess, longer femurs than I do, you might want to skip the Omni altogether and jump to one of the Libernovo Maxis chairs coming up later in the video, since those are built for big and tall people. The only people who might consider the 45 centimeter option are maybe people like under like 5'5", and even then, some of them might still want the extra depth to put their feet up or sit cross-legged. So whatever model you wind up going with, just remember at checkout, if you know you're fun sized, maybe the 45 centimeter seat could make sense for you. But most people should probably go with that bigger 48 centimeter option. Some taller or heavier folks are gonna need to look at the Maxis, which again is coming up in just a minute. But regardless, the cushion on the Omni is a super soft plush foam. Most people agree it feels really nice to sit on, but soft foam like this can compress and lose its shape over time. And since the Omni's still pretty new, nobody really knows how it'll hold up over time. For most people, this probably won't be a big deal, but if it does bother you, just keep that in the back of your mind, because there are some premium models coming up with firmer seats that will probably stand the test of time a bit better. Okay, so the hard part's out of the way. Now you know exactly what the Flagship Libernovo Omni brings to the table, and every chair from here on out is basically just going to be some variation of this. So think of the Omni as the Goldilocks and the Three Bears chair. Like, it's going to be the right choice for most people. And if you already know you want this one, I've got a discount link down in the description below. But remember, this version is not going to be the best choice for everyone. If you're on a budget, there are two models that are cheaper. If you want extra features and higher quality, there are two models that are pricier. And if you're too big for this chair, like taller than 6 feet or over 300 pounds, there are three models that'll be a better fit for your body type. First, let's start with the budget option. That's the Libernovo Omni SE. The Libernovo Omni SE is almost the exact same chair as the Libernovo Omni, but they've removed the electronic components and knocked a few $100 off the price tag. So obviously with this one, no battery, no remote controls in the armrest, and no spinal massage. And when you want to adjust the lower back position, you do so by turning a knob to drive the piston up and down. If you were on the fence about buying a Libernovo Omni, but it was a little bit outside your price range, or if you just really didn't care for the electronic components, this is definitely your chair. And there's actually a bit of a hidden bonus to choosing the SE, because with this one, you never need to worry about charging the chair or about the electronic components crapping out over time. But other than the cheaper price and missing electronic components, the only other difference I've noticed with the Libernovo Omni SE is the color. The Libernovo Omni SE currently only comes in Obsidian right now, aka black, but pretty much everything else is exactly the same, from the cushion to the armrests to the headrest and the dynamic adjustability. The seat depth options on these are the same as the options on the regular Omni, 45 centimeters or 48 centimeters. But if you're on the bigger side, like again, over 6 foot or over 300 pounds, there is another budget version of the chair called the Maxis Manual that might be a better fit for you. Stay tuned, because we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. And since I usually call the Libernovo Omni an S-tier chair at a mid-tier price, it only feels right to call the Omni SE an S-tier chair at a low-tier price, at a budget-tier price, basically. It's pretty much a steal and a great option for the budget crowd. But what if you're not on a budget? What if you're the kind of person who always needs to have the best version of a product? Well, if you're willing to spend a few $100 more, that would be the Libernovo Omni Pro. Right away, the most noticeable difference with the Omni Pro is this premium Danish Gabriel Atlantic fabric covering the cushions. Not only does the fabric feel a lot more premium than the fabric on the Omni and Omni SE, it's literally tougher and designed to last longer. The cushions themselves also feel firmer, so they should definitely hold their shape better over the years versus the Omni and Omni SE cushions. And there are some differences structurally with the Libernovo Omni Pro, like the reinforced aluminum alloy base that just make the whole thing feel sturdier and more premium. But the biggest new feature on it is going to be this ventilation fan on the bottom. The fan has 2 power levels that can be activated via a button on the armrest right next to the spinal stretch massage button. And when you activate it, a fan under the seat turns on to pull hot air down through the seat and away from the chair. So if you're someone who tends to get a little toasty down there, or if you just find yourself getting hot and uncomfortable after long hours of sitting at your desk, well, then this cooling fan could be worth it for you. In my opinion, the Libernovo Omni Pro is going to be the best option for people who have a little bit more to spend and really want all the bells and whistles, so that in-seat cooling we talked about, the electronic lumbar adjustment and the spinal massage, the higher quality materials and fabric that will almost certainly outlast the other models. But with that said, the Omni Pro is not the only version of Libernovo that comes with those premium upgrades. Because now we get into the Libernovo Maxis line, where we've got 3 different options, one of which is just as bougie as the Omni Pro. And I know 3 sounds like a lot, but I'm gonna keep it stupid simple. If you only take one thing from this section of the video, it's that the Maxis chairs are the big and tall chairs. So if you're over 6 foot, they could start making sense for you. And if you're over like 6'2" or over 300 pounds, you almost certainly need one, because the Maxis chairs are the only ones built to handle up to 400 pounds, with their whole frame being structurally beefed up to stay durable under more weight. What makes them big and tall chairs comes down to a few things. So the seat cushions are denser and non-slip, so they feel a lot firmer when I push on them, and this should help to support heavier bodies better. And the whole chair is just like chunkier, with a wider back versus the more contoured curves of the Omni. The armrests are longer and curved, the headrest is a little bit bigger, and the seat now is 52 centimeters deep, which a lot of taller folks are just gonna love, because it actually will do a much better job of supporting their femurs. However, it's worth noting that height alone is not exactly a perfect metric for deciding whether or not you need a Maxis chair, because you can be tall with short femurs or short with long femurs. I'm about 6 foot, and personally I'm fine on the 48 centimeter seat depth, but from comments I've seen from even people that are shorter than me, some of these people swear that they need a greater seat depth. So these people might just have longer femurs than I do. So the short answer is, if you know you like a deep seat, or you sit with your feet up or legs crossed, that deeper Maxis seat is probably the right move for you. The only real downside for me of the Maxis chairs is that, personally, I think that the chunkier Maxis look is a little less sleek and aesthetically appealing than the Omni's curves, but that's just my personal opinion. And if you do decide to go with a Maxis chair, you've still got 3 different versions to choose from. So to keep it simple, here's a tip. Each Maxis chair is just a plus-sized version of an Omni chair that you've already seen. So the middle option is the Maxis Electric, which is basically the plus-sized standard Omni. All the Maxis size and support, plus the electronic back adjustment and massage, but no in-seat cooling fan. Then there's the Maxis Manual, which is the plus size version of the budget Omni SE. So again, it's got the same Maxis build, but this time they've stripped out the electronics and knocked a few $100 off the way they did with the Omni SE. And at the top of the price range is the Maxis Airflow, which I've got right here, which is the plus size Omni Pro. Full Maxis size and support, plus everything the Pros got. So the in-seat cooling fan, the premium aluminum alloy base, the high-end Danish Gabriel fabric. So if you're big, bad, and bougie, this one's the chair for you. If you happen to fall in that weird 6 foot to 6'2" height range, or you're still just kind of stuck between choosing a Maxis versus another Omni chair, hang tight just a sec and I'll help you figure that out. But first, just a quick recap for those who are pretty much ready to make their decision and buy. And again, don't forget to use those discount links down in the description. I really do keep them aggressively updated with whatever the current best deal on the internet is. But I think the key takeaway is the Libernovo Omni is an S-tier chair at a mid-tier price, and it'll be the safe bet for most people. It's an absolute powerhouse for mixed use cases like switching easily between work and gaming. If you can't quite afford it and you're willing to pass on the electronic features to save a few hundo, you're gonna wanna look at the Libernovo Omni SE. If you got some money to blow and you want higher quality materials and some extra features like the in-seat cooling and just higher quality fabric and build overall, well then the Libernovo Omni Pro is probably for you. And if you're on the bigger side and need a little extra support or leg room, you're definitely gonna wanna go with one of the Maxis versions of these chairs, which would be the Maxis Electric, Maxis Manual, or Maxis Airflow, respectively. But if you are still stuck at this point and are just going back and forth between getting a Maxis or a regular sized Omni chair, I highly recommend checking out this video where I break down exactly who I think needs a Maxis chair versus who might like one and who probably doesn't need one or should pass for now. Otherwise, I always try to respond to every active subscriber who asks me a question down in the comments. So if I can help in any way, let me know and I'll get back to you ASAP.